Good evening. I call this meeting to order at 5 p.m. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Roll call. All directors are present. Moving on to approval of the agenda. Mr. Bartz, are there any changes to the agenda?
The only change I have to the agenda tonight is there will be a presentation under number 5.
Okay. All right. May I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
I'll make a motion.
And a second?
I'll second.
All in favor of the motion to approve the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The agenda is approved. We will move on to public comment. Are there any members of the public in person that have a public comment? Mr. Barnes?
Good evening. I wanted to speak to an item that is on the agenda, item 5, but I wanted to do it now so I can leave with my daughter and get home and watch it on Zoom. We don't disturb you guys the rest of the meeting. I just wanted to express to the board how much I have appreciated one of the candidates for the open position tonight. Deborah Phillips is someone who I've gotten to know pretty well over the last few months. I asked her to run with me for a position on the Sheep Creek Water Company Board of Directors. And I did that knowing that A, she's not in the Sheep Creek Water Company Water District, and B, knowing it was probably a long shot because of that, and because she's done other things that are, let's just say, of more importance. I mean, Sheep Creek is a small company. It's not like being on the board is going to, be great for her resume or something. But she decided that she was going to run, and that was part of the reason that I asked, because I had a real sense that she has a real strong heart for helping people in her community. And even though it wasn't really her campaign, she put her heart and soul into it. And, whatever, we did not win the election, but nonetheless, I was able to get to know her a lot better and realize just that I had no idea how strong her heart for the community is, and that she has spent a great deal of time over the past decade plus working for people in the communities where she lives, and in the past decade, basically, around here, helping people who are in positions where they may not be able to help themselves. And for me, that is one of the highest praises that I can give about anybody. And so I just wanted to recommend her. I have nothing against any other candidates who are also running, but I can just speak to the quality of character for Deborah Phillips, and would ask the board to seriously consider having her be appointed to the open position. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. Any other public comments in person? All right. And it doesn't look like we have any members of the public online at this time. So we will move on to community reports. Dr. Holman, you're up.
Good evening to the directors and administration all the time. Thanks so very much for this monthly opportunity to just share with all of you what's happening in the Snowline Joint Unified School District. Here we are, just about in the middle of May. That means we're getting down to the end. Let's start where we need to. First things first, right? And that would be to our Madam President here and everybody else. The waivers for those days when we were out of school have been approved. We will not be extending the year. We will still end on June 8th. That information went out last night at the board meeting. We got that information and shared that with all folks in this whole community. And so as we, fight back the loud cheers from students and maybe even staff members too, as I say this here, we thank all of you for your patience in that regard. So we'll end on June 8th. And speaking of ending on June 8th, it's this time for promotions and graduations. And I just want to share with you, those will all run as normal from the 5th of June all the way to the 8th of June, which will be in with Toronto High School's graduation, as we always do. There's a unique one, though, that I don't know if all of you are aware of. We've been doing it for quite a few numbers of years. Love it, because what we do is we call it our kindergarten walk. All of our kindergartners come up to the high school stadium. It's a promotional walk. Maybe some of you as parents have been engaged in that, and we find it to be a powerful opportunity because all the seniors will then be paired up with one of the kindergartners. They walk them down to pomp and circumstance. They get to take pictures, and we get to, just for a few moments, really remind everyone in that stadium that it is a long journey, but it's a journey that we take together. That happens on the 6th of June, so if anyone wants to participate in that, want to be part of it and see it, please join us for that. I also want to express, when I said about appreciation, weeks of appreciation have been happening, even days. I think it was on the 1st of May, appreciation for all of our principals. Having been one, I will tell you the job now is way more difficult than it was for me. I think it was about 15 years ago since I was a principal. Please, if you have an opportunity to thank your principal, please do, and tell them to come back tomorrow and the next day and the next day. We need them. And also say the same for teachers. Teacher Appreciation Week is this week. I say the same. It is much more difficult than it ever was when I was a teacher almost 3 decades ago, and I'm so grateful for them. Please remind them to come back tomorrow and the next day and the next day also. And then lastly, on May 21st, for all of our classified staff, I think all too often we forget how powerful they are. And I will say this, as all of you sit in the audience here today, and those who are maybe logged in, if you can just take a moment, just 10 seconds, and think about an educator who impacted you, I'm going to guess it's going to do a couple things. It's going to bring a smile to your face, and you're going to, remember how that person made you feel valued, that you mattered, that they cared for you, and that would be our classified staff, our teachers, principals, and everyone. So just a time to appreciate all of them, and I'm glad I could share that right now. I also want to share 2 other things, and I'll turn it back over to you again. So thankful for this time. I don't know if you're aware of another kindergarten I say kindergarten, but elementary all the way through high school event that we've done for 1 year. This is our 2nd year. It was very successful the first year, and that was last year, and that's Snowline Music Days, Monday of next week, and then Wednesday of next week. What we do is we take all of our elementary musicians and middle school musicians, bring them to the high school so they can all collaborate, go to trainings that are led by our high school musicians and in the areas of band and choir, and allow those youngest kids to really get a flavor for what they could be experiencing as they move through the system. It culminates in each of those days. Monday with a performance, elementary, middle, and high school all together on the choir on Monday up at Toronto High School, and then on Wednesday for band. So if you just are in the mood for performance art, specifically in band and choir, go check those out, because you're going to see our youngest coupled with our oldest, and it should be a great time there. I see, was that a hand up? I don't know. Am I able to answer questions?
Sure.
Okay, sorry.
What time do those happen?
6 o'clock. 6 o'clock, yeah, sorry. So thank you. Thanks. My apologies for not saying that. And then lastly, we've been talking a lot about the health and wellness effort that we have going on in the Snowline School District. We know the pandemic only exacerbated problems of depression and anxiety for kids, suicidal ideation. The same happened with adults. So I just want to make you aware what we've been engaged in for this year's time, and that is our Snowline Health and Wellness effort for our staff members. Things like mindfulness, emotional intelligence, belonging and connection, trying to build that through a program called University. That's YOU University. If you're interested in it, you can log into that. Just want you to know that not only do we care deeply about our kids, they're first and foremost, that's the primary focus for ourselves. We can't forget our staff members, know that that's up and going. That's a lot of information. Back to Madam President, thanks so much for the time. Certainly answer any questions, but also want to thank you. And I do apologize. I know an important meeting to hear tonight, but I do have to go off to tend to some more business. But thank you for the time.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Any questions? No? All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Thanks.
All right. I don't see any other community members online, so we will move on to agenda item number 3, consent items. Does anyone have any item that they would like to pull? No? All right.
I will move the item.
I'll second it.
All right. All in favor of the motion to approve the consent item, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion passes. All right. Number 4, there were no matters removed, so we will move on to number 5, presentations.
Thank you, Madam President. Tonight, I've asked the employees to come who participated in the construction of the new well 15 line, which was a complete success. I mean, these guys worked hard, did it faster than we thought they could possibly do it. And we have at least 9, or if you count George, there's 10 employees that were out there on this job doing work. And we have new board members here, and this might be the first time that you've got to meet them. So before I turn this over to Sean for the presentation, I'd just like to take just a minute or so and have each one of you stand up and give your name and how many years you've been with the district. That way the board can put a face with the name going into the future. So if you guys don't mind doing that, if you don't want to, you don't have to, but I think it'd be really nice to do that. Oh, I'm going to put them on the spot.
Frank Ramirez, I've been with the district about 4.5 years.
Please use the microphone, otherwise our Zoom audience cannot hear you. Thank you.
Check, check. My name is Frank Ramirez. I've been with the district for about 4.5 years.
Thank you.
I'm Paul Mahalik, and I've been here like 6 or 7 years. Don't even. So,
So fast.
7 years.
Chris, I've been here about 6 years.
Hi, I'm Lance. I've been here just under a year. I started off as a temp, and so now I work in parks and water.
Hello, my name is Ernesto Araiza, and I've been with the district since 2009.
I'm Eric Barnes, and I've been with the district 7.5 years.
Hello, I'm Oscar Dubon. I've been with the district about 9 years.
Thank you, guys. I know I did put you on the spot, but I think it's important for the board members to know who the employees are and what a great job you guys have done. Sean, I'm going to turn it over to you, and he's got some pictures and descriptions of the project.
Thank you, Don. Again, more thank you to you guys. You guys were the ones that made all this happen, and we brought some photos. Since the last time we met, we were challenged with installing about 5,900 foot of 12-inch ductile pipe. For reference, a mile is 5,280 feet. Our first pictures, and here we go. So sorry guys, it was not my intent to put you on the spot. I was just going to call y'all out by name. And there's a couple folks who couldn't make it this evening. Chris didn't get to introduce himself. We all know Chris. He's been here just a little over a year now. Unfortunately, Steven Trujillo wasn't able to make it. He's part of our team. And Mike Lewis, also not able to make it this evening. And I think everyone else, thank you for coming tonight. You guys were the reason all this happened, and all your hard work, your sunburns, and your tans. So like I said, we installed 5,900 linear feet of 12-inch ductile pipe, and these guys did it in 16 working days. That's with 5 fire hydrants and 12 valves and 4 valve packages. Just so you know, when we purchased the ductile iron pipe at Don's urging about 8 months ago, we paid $42 a linear foot. That pipe's $54 a linear foot today. It's about $11 more per foot. So there's some cost savings even in the pipe. When you're talking 330 sticks of pipe at $11 a foot, that adds up rather quickly. Luckily, we were able to beat the heat, and we all had a chance to run different pieces of equipment that we don't get to run every day. So it was a learning opportunity as well as a cost savings to the district, and we'll get to that. 329 sticks to be exact of pipe were installed, and this is what something like that looks like. Those are safety clamps that make sure we don't become a pancake. And all this was done by these guys, accident-free, not so much as a Band-Aid or a scratch. The entire 5,900-foot run was compacted with water, so hopefully there's no settling, shouldn't be. And there in that picture you see that's a compaction wheel on the excavator. We had 2 excavators, a water truck, and a skip loader on rent. Next picture, please. So we transversed all the utilities. No functioning utilities were hit, except water, so if you hit your own, it doesn't count.
Was it marked properly?
If you can fix it, yeah. And tracing wire and caution ribbon were installed along the whole alignment. And this is what something like that looks like. These guys spent 16 days working harder than they should ever be asked to work. And what does that equal? That equals a cost savings to the district of the rental equipment. The board authorized $39,700 in rental equipment. That was cut in almost half by being able to do it in 16 working days. So we rented that equipment 5 weeks, not 8. This is pretty much what their day looked like. That's down in the trench. That's a normal day down there. No, the impact wrench didn't stay there. And believe it or not, in that cloud's even a valve package that you can't see, but that's what it looks like. And of course, there's always a ladder within 25 foot in our 4-foot 11.5-inch ditch. And there you can see Paul manning the duck butter very diligently. That is pipe soap. We also included a couple stub outs for the future along this alignment, so hopefully future, a year, a decade, 100 years from now, basically this unlocks a corridor of where there's water. We got the Title 22 results back from this well. The water quality is impeccable. No arsenic, no chromium, good flow. And in the future, where there's water, towns will grow. And I think that's one of the truest things I've ever heard. We have stub outs along this alignment in case any properties become available. We can tie into this transmission line and bring water up more easily into the distribution system. Some plus sides, we all got some good tans or sunburns out of the deal. Lastly, this is our well site. That's what it looks like. So all that was done to bring that pipe stubbed up out of the ground there next to that $1 million hole that's bearing about 700 gallons a minute. What's that translate to into dollars saved by the district? No, we did not take this project out. I'm estimating somewhere between $400,000 and $600,000 to install that pipe. And again, in 16 days, these guys were able to do that. Because they pushed even harder, we cut that rental expenditure almost in half. So again, I just want to thank all of you. Thank you for your hard work, your patience. You guys are amazing. Couldn't do it without you. Chris, you as well. Thank you all you guys.
And now you can go home to your families if you'd like to. You don't have to stay for the rest of the, you're welcome to stay, but if you want to bail out, please do.
We're not that exciting. All right. Thank you again. All right, so we will move on to agenda item 6A, public hearing on the 2023-2024 budget. All right, I declare that the public hearing on the proposed adoption of the final budget for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2024 is now open at 5:19 p.m. May we have the secretary's report, please?
Yes, at this time, I'd like to report the district received 0 written protests, objections, or comments on the proposed adoption of the final budget for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2024.
Thank you. May we please have the attorney's report, Mr. Kennedy?
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. The notice of public hearing was published in the Daily Press on April 26th and May 3rd, 2023. The notice was posted in the district office and on the district website on April 20, 2023. Copies of the fiscal year 2023-2024 budget have been made available in the district office and on the district website in accordance with applicable law. Therefore, the district and staff have complied with all the legal requirements necessary for this hearing within the manner and time specified in the government code.
Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. May we have the staff report, please?
Yes, the board reviewed the draft budget detail at several public meetings, including the District Finance Committee meetings, workshops, and board meetings held February 15th, March 21st, April 5th, April 18th, and May 8th. The budget schedule was made available online, in the newspaper, and the office to encourage public attendance. Staff made changes as recommended by the board throughout the process, and the various draft budgets were made available to the public for review on the district website, in agenda packages, and in the district offices.
Thank you, Mr. Bartz. At this time, we will open the public hearing up for public comment. Are there any members of the public in person that have a public comment on this item? Are there any members of the public online that have a comment on this item?
Cheryl Roden, did you have a public comment on this item for the public hearing?
No, thanks. I filled out the form and said no, but thank you. Other than great document. Congratulations to staff.
Thank you.
And Peter Barnes?
No comment.
Okay. So with no comment from the public, may I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. I declare the public hearing closed at 5:21 PM. Thank you. All right, so we move on to 6B, discussion and possible adoption of Resolution 2023-12, adopting the budget for fiscal year ending June 30, 2024. Mr. Bartz.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm going to get right to this since we have such a large agenda. The staff's recommendation is for the board to adopt resolution number 2023-12, adopting the budget for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2024.
All right, does anyone have any questions or comments?
I just have one. The Finance Committee reviewed it in detail and suggested a few alterations and then moved it to bring it to the board for review and hopefully acceptance.
All right, thank you. All right, so if we have no further questions or comments, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor of the motion to adopt Resolution 2023-12, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, the motion passes. All right, we move on to 6C, public hearing on proposed water capacity fees. I declare that the public hearing on the proposed water capacity fee is now open at 5:23 PM. May we have the secretary's report, please?
Yes, at this time, I would like to report that the district received 0 written protests, objections, or comments regarding the proposed water capacity fee.
Thank you. May we have the attorney's report, Mr. Kennedy?
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. Notice of public hearing was published in the Daily Press on April 26th and May 3rd, 2023. Notice of the public hearing was posted on the district's website and posted in the district office on April 20, 2023. The capacity fee report was made available for public review in the district office and on the district website in accordance with applicable law. Therefore, the district has complied with all of the legal requirements necessary for this hearing within the manner and time specified by California law.
Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. May we have the staff report, please?
Yes, district staff engaged IB Consulting LLC to complete a capacity fee study as the last study and modification took place in 2013. A capacity fee is a charge for public facilities in existence at the time a charge is imposed or changes to new facilities to be constructed in the future. That is a benefit to the person or property being charged. Capacity fees ensure new development pays its fair share to connect to the system and does not cause additional burdens to the current customers. Capital infrastructure costs are required to meet new demand for connections should be paid by those causing the cost to be incurred. Based on the study, the capacity component of the district's connection charges would increase from $79.70 to $10,951 for a 1-inch meter connecting to the system. The district's capacity fee has not increased since 2013.
Thank you, Mr. Bartz. At this time, we will open the public hearing for public comment. Are there any members of the public in person that have a public comment? All right. And online?
No, thank you.
Mr. Barnes? Okay. All right. May I have a motion to close the public hearing?
All motion.
Okay.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, I declare the public hearing closed at 5:26 PM. All right, moving on to 6D, discussion and possible adoption of Resolution 2023-13, increasing water capacity fees. Mr. Bartz.
Thank you, Madam President. Based on the study, the capacity fee component of the district's connection charges would increase from $79.70 to $10,951 for a 1-inch meter connecting to the system. The district's capacity fee has not increased since 2013. In order to keep pace with inflation, the district should adjust the capacity fee on an annual basis by applying the annual percentage change in the engineering news record CCI to keep pace with the inflation, which will be accomplished by bringing forth a resolution annually to the board for the board to consider. Additionally, it is recommended that a comprehensive update is completed every 5 years. And staff's recommendation is for the board to adopt resolution number 2023-13, increasing water capacity fees. And Habib Isaac is online if there are any questions regarding the study.
All right, thank you. Questions?
Well, just one comment. The standard is to put 1 inch in for all domestic.
Yeah, that is correct.
Meters,
For, with the new fire flow requirements and fire sprinklers for each new residence that's built, 1 inch is the standard size that's installed.
Okay, that's all.
Okay, over here? No? All right, if no further questions, do I have a motion?
I will motion to approve the item.
I'll second.
All right. All in favor of adoption of Resolution 2023-13, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion passes. All right. Moving on to item 6E, discussion and possible action regarding appointment of director for vacant board seat and board selection of applicants to possibly interview. Am I correct in saying that Mr. Velez is not here this evening?
I do not see him in person or online.
All right, thank you very much. So then that leaves us with 2 candidates. Would anyone like to interview the applicants at this time? Are you okay with doing that? Yeah? Help me out here, guys. I hate being the only one, blah, 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 blah. All right, so I'll just pick. We are going to start with Miss Deborah Phillips.
So historically speaking, Madam President,
Yes.
the candidate that is not currently being interviewed usually waits outside because we don't provide the questions in advance.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Gina.
All right. Good evening. All right, so the first question for you is, please explain your background and experience that will aid you should you be chosen as the new director.
My background comes from starting off being a stay-at-home mom of 5 kids and 1 bonus son. In addition to volunteering with Head Start for numerous years, where I learned leadership skills and compassion for the community deeper than I'd ever could know. I moved down here in 2011, and upon getting down here, I got connected to the Baldy Mesa area and happened to choose Phelan to be my home place for our P.O. box, and fell in love deeper and deeper with the community. It wasn't my first experience with the community due to my mom living here in the 90s. And I found myself falling deeper and deeper in love with the community. And in 2015 was blessed with the chance to buy a home, my first home ever in Phelan. It was a big choice, and I'm very thankful I made it. I have deeper roots here than I have anywhere else. My experience since being in Phelan, being in the Phelan area, I was connected to Healthy Communities in Victorville, where we help solve food issues in the valley from areas where maybe healthy food choices weren't available at their local grocery store or even convenience store for some areas. Then in Phelan, we got connected to the community cabinet out of Snowline, where we were able to secure a grant from St. Mary's, and we're able to improve food resources here in the local area. I have since was able to start going to meetings here for the CSD before even securing my home completely. I attended meetings for several years prior to running for the board in 2018, where I was able to secure a seat and learn so much. I'm fully trained in all the needs for the district, including the ones that are timely required and all of the Special District Leadership Academy needs. I will be able to step right into the position, fully able to do the needs for the district.
Thank you. Are you prepared to dedicate the time necessary to educate yourself, participate in daytime meetings, and attend conferences or seminars?
100%. I have complete time to it. My time is my family's and the district's if that's what's required. I have very little outside things other than that. I will give 100% focus to the district.
Thank you. And you did touch on it a little bit, but how have you been involved in the local community?
In addition to the other things, I've done volunteer work with several of the food banks, connecting with the people that are in hardship times, and being able to provide them resources to provide solutions to their problems. That's about it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Will you tell Miss Gina that she can come in?
Yeah.
Hello. Hi. All right, so first question for you is, please explain your background and experience that will aid you should you be chosen as the new director.
Well, I've lived in the area for 45 years. I understand this community. As a matter of fact, the community has given me much, and this would be a way that I can be involved and give back. I have served on a variety of boards within this community, and about 30 years of a variety of board experience.
Thank you. Are you prepared to dedicate the time necessary to educate yourself, participate in daytime meetings, and attend conferences or seminars?
I am. I actually am one that really thrives on learning. And after reviewing many board meetings from the past, I realized how much there is to learn. So I am excited about that. I do have the availability. Fortunately, my small business in our area, I have it being ran by some pretty competent people. And so my availability is pretty flexible. So daytime and nighttime, I can usually make myself available. And as far as maybe longer term seminars or whatever's required, that would be possible as well.
Thank you. And tell us a little bit about your involvement in the local community.
Okay, so currently I serve on the Phelan Chamber of Commerce Board. I am the past president. As long as the current president stays in her position, I will remain in that position. Basically, it's a mentoring type position, still a voting position, to help bring experience from the past. So when we encounter issues, we have a little bit of history that we can pull from. I have other experiences that are a little further back in date within the school district. Between the advisory board and the parent board, I learned a lot there. Those were my first experiences of being on the board. And it's given me the opportunity to meet a lot of people and work with a variety of people. You know, there's not two of us alike out there, so it's a great opportunity to work with others.
Right. Thank you very much.
Is that it?
Yeah. Easy peasy.
Do I go
All right.
outside?
Now,
It's wonderful weather outside. I'll go outside if you want me to.
is it good?
Okay.
All right. I was on the other side of this last time, so. Yeah. Okay, so did anyone have did I miss anything? Did you have any other questions? We're all, at this point, I guess I can entertain a motion to appoint, or we can discuss. Thoughts?
Well, I would move to nominate Deborah Phillips for the vacant position. I think just the experience that she's had in the last would be a help to the board. So,
Do I have a second, or do I have a other opinion?
I'll give a second on that also. Thanks.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion to appoint Deborah Phillips to the vacant board seat, say aye.
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 Aye. All right, any opposed? All right, the motion passes. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Miss Gina Mills. We appreciate you coming out. All right.
Thank you.
So we move on to agenda item number 4, swearing in of director for vacant board seat.
Right here. Okay, so raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Deborah Phillips,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend,
the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California,
to the Constitution of the United States and to the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
I will
Sorry, it's a lot. That I will well and faithfully
that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
upon which I am about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
Thank
So help me
you.
God.
Right. Thank you.
Let me go in there and do it. Okay.
Official paperwork. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. All right, we will move on to agenda item 6F, discussion and possible action regarding approval to extend auditing contract with CJ Brown and Company CPAs, an accountancy corporation. Mr. Bartz.
Thank you. Ms. Lawrence is going to take this item.
Yes, it's that time that we need to reconsider our auditors, and at this point, I'm recommending that we continue with the auditors that we have for one more year, and the board can consider at a later time if we'd like to go out to and get quotes from additional auditors. Again, we did that in 2015. The auditors that we have a good rapport with staff. and they have a great rapport with the board of directors. And and they've come in under budget every year that they for their auditing services. They provide us with a team each year that has one person who has been with us before and one person who's new, so that we get fresh eyes on the audit. Additionally, every 6 years, we have to change partners within the firm, so that according to the Auditing Standards Board, they require that. So different partner services are managing auditor, and we've been basically with the same auditors since 2009.
Okay. Any questions?
I'll make a quick comment. I've been on the Finance Committee for about 2 years now, and they've been very good and responsive. The audits actually look very good. But was it your recommendation that next year we would go out to a bidding process? Is that what I understood?
It's up to the board, because
Oh.
that's a lengthy thing and it's, cumbersome, and we've done it before. But if the board has a comfort level, the board absolutely can extend it longer than this year if they would like to do that.
Okay. Questions, comments? No? All right. Motion?
Yes, I will make a motion to approve the agenda of retaining the services for an additional year, and then review it, I think, next year again.
I'll second that.
All right. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion passes. Moving on to 6G, discussion and possible adoption of Resolution 2023-14, approving the application for Land and Water Conservation Fund Phelan Community Park Project. Mr. Bartz.
Thank you. I'm going to pass this one down to Ms. Sevi.
Thank you. So staff is in the process of finding funding to build our park. And one of the grants we're putting in for is the Land and Water Conservation Fund grant to help fund the portions of the park that were in the packet. So that would be a multi-purpose field, some trails, and some new equipment out there. In order to submit for the grant, we do need the board to approve this resolution. If awarded and accepted, the district would be required to match and prepay for any grant amount that's awarded, and we wouldn't be able to use any portions of the park developed with these grant funds for any purpose in perpetuity unless certain conditions are met and authorized by the Secretary of Interior. So basically, anything built under this grant basically becomes reserved as a park forever unless we go through a process to remove it, which this is a problem for cities, not so much for us where we have lots of land. So if we are awarded the grant, we would bring back the requirements in detail with the contract and everything for matching funds and other conditions. So you'll have an opportunity to review it again and to say no if you want to. But if you would like for us to submit for this grant, we do recommend that you adopt Resolution 2023-14, approving the application for Land and Water Conservation Fund for the Phelan Park Expansion Project.
Thank you very much. All right. Questions, comments? No? Straightforward. Oh, I would like to make the motion to approve Resolution 2023-14, since we went over it in the Park Committee.
I'll second that.
I want to make a quick comment that thank you guys for looking for grants everywhere you can.
All right. I'm sorry. Did you second?
Yes.
Thank you very much. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you. Motion passes. All right. Moving on to 6H, discussion and possible action regarding committee assignments. All right. So at this point, I would like to invite Deborah back on the Solid Waste Committee, since I know that is a passion of yours.
Yes, it is.
And Chuck, you would remain there with Deborah, since I know that you're a huge help to that committee, and we really appreciate it very much. And then since moving you from legislative, Deborah, I would like to put you back on legislative with Greg, and then the rest of the committees would stay the same at this time. All right? Thank you very much. Do you need anything else for that, Ms. Sevi?
I do not. I'll just
Okay.
update the calendar invitations.
Great, thank you so much. All right, so 6I, update on water conservation requirements. Mr. Burks.
Thank you. We're going to pass this around a little bit more, and we have Jen here tonight who's going to give you the rundown on the drought update.
Mr. Fish, are you able to display the board packet with that presentation? Looks like you got it. Perfect. Thank you. The start of the presentation, so I think it's the next page. Thank you.
That's pretty close.
Yeah.
Okay. So as you are all aware, we got a lot of rain this year, so that's been some good news. I just wanted to give you a brief timeline of recent conservation legislation that has been enacted as a result of the most recent drought, which was from 2020 to 2022. This was the driest 3-year period on record. So as a result of that, the governor in 2021 called upon California to implement a voluntary 15% conservation target. In 2022, because of the ongoing drought conditions, Executive Order N-722 was issued, extending the call for that voluntary conservation, and it required all agencies to implement level 2 of their drought contingency plans, which we did. But as a result of the rain this past year, that executive order has been lifted as of March 24th, 2023. So what does this mean? This means that that voluntary conservation has been lifted, that level 2 requirement is no longer in place, that our stage 2 had some, various items in it, including watering restrictions, prompt repair of leaks, extensive education outreach, and things of that nature. But we are now able to lift that level 2 if that's the desire of the board. And just a note as well, that voluntary conservation across California did result in a savings of 600,000 acre-feet of water, which is significant. So I think that's something to note, just because it was a voluntary restriction versus past restrictions in the past. There are some, as a result of the 2012 to 2017 drought, there were some permanent legislation items that were put in place that I just wanted to briefly review. These were AB 1668 and SB 606, which require the district to set water use objectives, execute an annual water audit, and take action to lower consumption on an ongoing basis. SB 555 requires the district to develop and address agency side water loss. So those are not going away. Those are permanent. We have specific goals, 5-10-year goals that will continue just because of the fluctuation of drought in California. So what's on the horizon? This year will be the first year that the district has to set water use objectives. Those are due by January 1st. We are working with a consultant that has been hired by Mojave Water Agency to develop those objectives. And then there's a period, a compliance period that will go into place. And each year the district will have to set new objectives, and we do have to meet those or face fines and penalties. Another upcoming event that won't necessarily have an immediate effect on the district, but is still a possibility, is that the federal government is looking into stepping in doing intervention on Colorado River allotments. This could be a historic event because they're actually looking at doing away with the water rights that typically have set who gets what water. So we'll see if that goes into place, but that will have a significant effect upon a lot of agencies in California. So, any questions?
Any questions? No? Over here?
And just to note, it is our recommendation at this point to move back to stage 1, if that's the desire of the board.
And we would do that by bringing that back as an agenda item, so you would have
Thank
review
you.
and discussion of a resolution.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right, so we will move on to 6J, update on the proposed Civic Center and Phelan Park expansion projects. Mr. Bartz.
Thank you. George is going to take this item.
Thank you, Mr. Bartz. It'll be a quick update on the submittals which are pending for county approval, and the revised WQMP and the grading plans were both submitted. Really, that is all that we're waiting for. There were minor corrections. Everything's been addressed with that. Also submitted, but this is to the County Public Works Department for the right-of-way abandonment of Sahara Road, were the access and slope easements for the 2 parcels just north of our project. The Edison design, which is not really necessary at this point to be completed for the Civic Center project, is in process with the new planner with about 30 years experience in planning for a project. The other planner we had went MIA for a couple months, so we're kind of starting over, but not really, just for the fact that he knows where to get and efficiently. He already come up with some suggestions that pending the electrical engineer, we'll be moving forward quickly with that. The RFQs, they were submitted on the 3rd of May. There were 4. I was kind of surprised that we had 4, but from what I've heard from the principal with RLB, that he wasn't surprised. Public work projects are difficult to get contractors to bid on. Right now, what's really hot are private projects, commercial sites, development on tracks and things like that. They're all going after that work. But we do have 4. They are AMG, BH Murphy, Oh No, and PCMB. All pretty much fit the criterias and qualifications. We're going to bring this back to the board for a recommendation at the time of the RFP approval for the project. What's pending is the IT design for the building. We're going to include that as part of the RFP package. So we got about a month and a half or so when we get into that. We did receive the draft RFP. Staff has reviewed it. Comments were submitted back to the consultant, so we're working on that version of the RFP. I have no other things to report on the Civic Center. If you have any questions, I can address the Civic Center project before I get onto the park.
Questions?
No.
Can you run through those 4 contractors' names one more time?
AMG, BH Murphy, Oh No, OHNO, and PCMB.
Thank you.
Yes, that's the last name of Yoshi. Oh No.
Okay.
Park.
Good. All right, keep going.
Park. CEQA has been completed. It was submitted to the county. Our senior planner, he has it in hand. He'll be reviewing it. It's been through a draft went through comments. So what he has is pretty solid, other than his comments. What is required, there are two things that are pending, the CEQA document. That is the Land and Water Conservation Grant that was just mentioned, as well as the ITP. And that's the incidental take permit for the Joshua Trees for the Phelan Park project. Both are waiting for the final on the CEQA. By the time we get with the Land and Water, we should be there. Really what's pending is the ITP. State's already asked for the copy so they can proceed with the review and recommendations, or let's just say requirements for a project. From what we're hearing outside of this world, on a recent mitigation for Joshua trees was about $50,000 per acre. Consider our 14-acre project, we're at $700,000. I don't know if we're going to be there. They spoke differently for public agencies and private projects. We'll see when we get there, and we'll have an opportunity to comment on that report. With that, I have nothing more to add to the Phelan Park project.
Yeah, I had a question.
Yes.
What about the mitigation for the Joshua trees? That's if they're removed?
There are 26 to be relocated.
Okay.
The remainders to be
But
discarded.
the mitigation costs is if they're removed, right?
Well, the other, that is just removing, which is what's going to happen. So it's just the cost to the state. And you know what that does.
Yeah, thank you. I was just making sure they weren't trying to nail us for when we move them and replant them and clock them in the right position. And
The relocation of the others that excludes the 26 that are suitable for a relocation would not survive relocation.
Okay.
So,
thank you.
Yep.
Any questions over here? No?
No, we're good.
All right, thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
All right, so we will move on to item number 7, committee reports, beginning with engineering.
We have not
We didn't
met
met.
since
Since
the
the cha-
last time.
All right, and finance.
Finance met on April 18th, and the minutes are in the packet if there's any questions. And Finance Committee also met a couple of days ago to have a detailed review of the budget, which we just passed today, and that's it.
Okay. Legislative?
We haven't had anything since we met last time. Yeah. Reported out.
Early March.
Okay. And parks, we met yesterday. Went over the new calendar. Anything else that I missed?
I went over the calendar, we reviewed the design regarding the Parks and Recreation Events Program.
Right.
Update on the Phelan Park expansion, gave a brief overview on that.
Oh, and we had a lovely
Yeah.
visit from Rowena, the farmer's market. Yeah, really good news. Yeah,
And then we did an update on the teaching garden.
awesome. Yeah, thank you for that. And waste and recycling. When was the last time? We met last month, right? So nothing new since last time. Yeah. But we do want to remind everyone that we have the community meeting on May 20th for that. All right. So we'll move on to number 8, staff and general managers report.
I have nothing to add to the general manager's report, but Ms. Sevi would like to update the board on the solid waste updates.
Okay.
Yeah, so as you're aware, we're coming up on a community info meeting on May 20th at 10 a.m., Zoom and in person here. And we're kind of finalizing what the solid waste program is going to look like when we begin to roll it out. And the big item that we've had on our plates is taking over solid waste billing. So our staff has been moving forward with getting our program set up for that. And I've been continuing to meet with CR&R staff, and they've assigned more staff to our area to assist in implementation and in compliance. And so during this process, we have learned that they do have the staff available. They just weren't previously allocated to our county. They were in Riverside, to get all of the reporting we need from CR&R. Additionally, I took Lori on a field trip with some other staff members out to corporate earlier this week, and we actually sat down with the staff that does all of the work in billing and accounting and IT, you name it. And we really had a good opportunity to have a discussion about what are they capable of billing-wise, reporting-wise, can they meet our needs? And I would have to say at this point in time, our recommendation is they do have the staff and the ability to continue with billing. And so it would be our recommendation that we no longer pursue taking over the billing of solid waste services at this time, that operationally and logistically speaking, with the implementation that has to happen, the communication, it would be better for the rollout if CR&R is doing the billing concurrently with all of the service actions, because we were figuring out how to tie in our systems in order to do that. But in light of all of the new assistance we're receiving from CR&R, we're going to be able to do our reporting and meet that mandate with them continuing to do the billing. And that was the primary driver behind us taking over the billing, is at any point in time, CalRecycle can show up and demand to see certain data. And previously, we weren't able to get that, but now we are. So if there is just, a little consensus from the board that we can provide that information to the community at the May 20th meeting, it would be nice to just say, at this time, the district isn't taking over the billing. It will remain with CR&R.
Wow. And then they would be required to do all that reporting that you were concerned about doing?
Yeah, so now they have actually assigned me a specialist in SB 1383 that did exist. We just weren't privileged enough to use her. And she's been very, very good at getting me everything I need. I just had a meeting with the state, and I was able to get all of my compliance action plan data input on time. And so I'm confident with this new staff that have been assigned that we'll be able to do everything that we need to. Because, the reality is they're working with huge jurisdictions. They have 50-something contracts. And so it was just odd that, we weren't getting the same level of service, but now we are. Actually, I can report today that they have changed their IVR system. So if you call their 1-800 number for corporate, no matter where you are, so if you live in Redlands and you're a customer there, the first thing you're going to hear is, if you are a Phelan Pinyon Hills resident, press 1. All other customers, so all other 49 customers, have to press 2. So the squeaky wheel definitely gets the grease, and we have on-site, in-person customer service, CR&R staff at this location now. They're looking at adding another one in order to meet our customer service needs. And just, us being the priority at the top of the phone tree is very refreshing.
Yeah, that's nice. That is awesome. That is awesome. So consensus?
Sounds like they've seen the light.
Yes. They saw Mrs. Sevy's light is what they saw.
Yeah, and Lori, you've been doing billing for a long time, and I believe you're of the same opinion. Comfort level, we had the discussion, so
Good.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea for them to keep the billing, and if you're getting all the reports and everything you need for the state from them, I know we were having some trouble with that before. I think that's a good thing, and let's keep working with them and keep making those contacts at corporate so we can get to the proper people and get the information we need. Thank you.
Excellent. Very good. Okay, so I think you have consensus. Thank you so much. Very good news. All right, so we will move on to agenda item 9, reports, director's reports. Greg?
We did meet yesterday for the parks committee, and we discussed that a little bit during our meeting. But I wanted to, staff ran off before I had a chance to say anything, but, you know, just reach back out to staff, tell them thank you. This is a tremendous asset to the district to have staff internally that can do pipeline work. And so, as you can see, Sean demonstrated there's a cost savings to the district, and what that in turn means is more in-house capital improvement projects to make our system robust. So thank you for that. Also, I did get the mailer with my water bill for the trash services. That was an excellent couple sheets in there that explain the process and what's going to happen. And I encourage our residents and customers to read that and be familiar with it, because it will answer a lot of their questions. And that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you. Sure.
I'd like to echo Greg's comments on the field staff on the pipeline project. That's a great project. It was great to see them all come in here dirty like they have been working on the pipeline all day long. Some of them were filthy. And then I want to thank staff for the budget presentation on Monday. It was very thorough, very thoughtful, went very smoothly. Great meeting. Thank you, David. Thank you, Lloyd, Don, everybody that was part of that. And Mark, all your great comments. Being new to the board, it was good to see all your comments, and you really went through the document with a fine-tooth comb. I did.
All right, Mark?
Yes, I just wanted to also say that the Finance Committee and the staff reviewed the budget document, and we had a nice, robust discussion, as previously stated, and I appreciate all the work. And I just had one little question. Has the pipeline been tested yet? I was curious.
Bacteriologically or pressure?
Pressure.
Thursday.
Bacteriologically will
It
be
was
later,
tested
but
up to 100? 118 today, but the district standard's 200 PSI for 2 hours, and that occurs Thursday. I'm sorry, Thursday? Thursday.
All right.
excellent. Thank you.
All right. Director Phillips, comments?
Just a thank you for giving me another opportunity. And I thank you to the community for all the support.
Thank you. All right. And my report from the last ASB-CSD, I had already commented on it. It's in there. And then I would like to encourage all directors to attend May's dinner. The board is actually hosting the dinner, the ASB-CSD board. And we will be having open mic night. So an individual from each agency will have an opportunity to speak for 3 to 5 minutes. So Mrs. Sevi has written something up for me, so I won't sound like I don't know what I'm talking about if I get to speak. Bless you. Thank you so much. So yeah, it would be great if anybody would like to come join me this time. We're doing it at Vince's Spaghetti this time.
The Ontario location, that is important to note. Don't go to Rancho.
Thanks for the heads up, yeah. So yeah, send in your travel requests to Mrs. Sevi so that you can go to that this time. All right, moving on to number 10, correspondence and information.
Let me catch up here. Yeah, I'm happy to report that Congressman Obernolte did select our tank project in the amount of $2 million to be submitted to the House Appropriations Committee for consideration. So we'll see what happens with that. As you're aware of the last go-around, it does take some time to determine if we will receive an award. And then, of course, we have our flyer for our upcoming community info meeting and our other activity flyers. Our baking class is pretty much booked solid, so if you were hoping to go to that one in June, you'll be on a standby list. And then we have our fun summer flyers in here, so movie nights, fitness and dance classes, painting, archery, lots of activities. And then, of course, every now and then we send these out, how to use your meter in an emergency, so some important info for our customers.
Great, thank you. All right, agenda item 11, review of action items. Were there any prior meeting action items?
Yes, and it's the same as the current, which is to update the committee calendars.
All right, thank you. So number 12, set agenda for next meeting, which will be May 24th. Does anyone have anything they would like to add to that? No? All right. All
Yeah,
right.
we'll have several items related, of course, water conservation, we'll be bringing that for discussion, and then we have a couple items from water operations as well.
Great, thank you very much. All right, we will now recess to close session at 6:10 PM.